Despite all the technical and economic progress, there are still many mysteries in our world that have not yet been fully explained by science. This is also the case with the following 10 cases, which continue to puzzle experts and researchers. Join us on this video through the world of mysterious technologies and secrets, and make up your own mind. Are you fascinated by mysterious things and incredible discoveries? Then give us a thumbs up, subscribe to Hidden Worlds, and join us on our adventure. The mysterious Shugar inscription. Our first mysterious case revolves around the so-called Shugar inscription. This is an inscription that dates back to the 18th century and was carved on the grounds of Shugar Hall in Staffordshire, England. Between the two letters D and M is the sequence of letters OUOSVAVV. Even after more than 200 years, researchers and code breakers have not been able to find out what the sequence of letters is all about. This is why experts considered it to be one of the best cipher codes in history. The Shugar inscription became widely known through the authors Michael Begent, Richard Lee, and Henry Lincoln, who mentioned the inscription in their book, The Holy Blood and the Holy Grail. However, the increased interest did not change the fact that it is still unclear today what message is hidden behind the sequence of letters. Will this mystery ever be solved? Who knows? A spark plug from a long-forgotten era. A particularly curious discovery was made by an explorer on February 13, 1961, when he was digging for geodes near the Californian town of Olaka, and came across a geode containing an object that was identified as a champion spark plug from the 1920s. But how could that be? A spark plug in a geode that is almost 500,000 years old? This find would completely turn the history of mankind's technical development on its head, as according to previous research, spark plugs were only invented in the 19th century. Researchers therefore assume that the find from 1961 was not a geode. Rather, we are dealing here with a deposit of rock that formed naturally over decades and could be explained logically. The history of technical development therefore does not need to be rewritten. A pity, really. A portal to another dimension? Our next story takes us to Peru, more precisely to the Sacred Valley, which lies between the towns of Urubamba and Ollantaytambo. Here, there is a mysterious site called Nupaca Huaca in Quechua. While Nupa can be translated as the ancients, Huaca means temple. The locals have great respect for the site and refer to it as a gateway to another dimension that allows the inhabitants of the spirit world to enter the human world in the morning hours. According to popular belief, these beings, known as Nuapas, are very dangerous and should therefore be left alone. Accordingly, the locals reacted critically to scientists and speleologists who set out to explore the site in the past. Among other things, the researchers discovered a stone megalithic throne inside, although its purpose remains unclear to this day. The same applies to the origins of the site itself. Boreholes that are way ahead of their time. It is now common knowledge that the ancient Egyptians were full of surprises. However, the current case surprises even experienced historians. It concerns almost perfect boreholes in rose granite, which were discovered in numerous ancient sites and could not actually have been drilled with the technology available at the time. Researchers initially assumed that the ancient Egyptians used copper or bronze pipe drills and used quartz sand as an abrasive. However, the attempt to recreate this process was a complete failure and raised more questions than it ultimately answered. How was it possible to drill such accurate holes several thousand years ago? Particularly impressive, according to historians, the discovered boreholes can be traced to the Comitians, a people who lived around 12,000 years ago and are described by experts as very advanced. Their most famous works include the Sphinx, the Great Pyramids of Giza, and of course, these boreholes. Kazakhstan Geoglyphs amaze researchers. Kazakhstan is certainly one of the most interesting travel destinations in the former Eastern Bloc due to its exciting history and impressive nature. Another reason to visit Kazakhstan is the impressive geoglyphs that were discovered in the Turgai steppe in the Kostani region at the beginning of the 20th century. After it was unclear for a long time where the geoglyphs came from, the Kazakh government initiated extensive research in 2007 using the Google Earth program and came across more geoglyphs in the Turgai region, which experts say are definitely of natural origin. As impressive as the formations may look, supernatural forces were not at work here. However, this should not deter tourists visiting Kazakhstan from paying a visit to the Turgai steppe and seeing the mysterious geoglyphs, which are up to 680 meters long, for themselves. A penchant for modesty, the Pythagorean Cup. The Pythagorean Cup is an object that looks like a normal drinking vessel. As is so often the case, however, the devil is hidden in the detail. The drinking cup was fitted with a central column from which a small tube led into an additional chamber. According to unconfirmed legends, the Pythagorean Cup was designed more than 2,000 years ago to teach people modesty. The design, attributed to Pythagoras, forces people to fill the cup only to a certain level. If you stick to this guideline, it is possible to drink from the cup without any problems. However, if the cup is filled beyond the specified mark and then brought to the mouth, the entire contents spill out through the tube at the bottom of the cup. This technique was intended to punish people's greed. However, the legends do not reveal to what extent the cup led to a change in thinking at the time. Exciting art from ancient Rome, the Lygoris Cup. Numerous political, technical, and cultural achievements are attributed to the ancient Romans. The fact that the Romans also had a penchant for exciting art is proved by the Lygoris Cup, which, according to historians, dates back to the 4th century AD. One of the special features of the Lygoris Cup is the fact that it was made of diachronic glass, which creates an exciting play of light. If the cup is illuminated from behind, it glows in the color red. If, on the other hand, it is illuminated from the front, the Lykurg beaker glows green. The play of colors is achieved by the special production of the cup, which is still a secret of the ancient Romans. Although researchers discovered that the glass was enriched with nanoparticles of gold and silver, the exact manufacturing process went down in history along with the Roman Empire several centuries ago. Vimana, the flying palaces of the Hindus. Hinduism is certainly one of the most interesting religions with its many rituals and different gods. The so-called Vimana, palaces or chariots of the gods that soar into the sky, are part of many Hindu stories. The Sanskrit word Vimana can best be translated as to measure out, to traverse, or to have been measured out. The exact origin of the legends surrounding the Vimana remains unclear to this day and is also not clear from the various historical writings of Hinduism. However, a Hindu holy scripture states that Vimana Vasin, inhabitants of Vimana, represents a class of gods who serve the Tirthamkara Mahavira. These deities in turn are known to reside in the heaven of Urdhava Loka and watch over the world and humanity from there. Incidentally, in the case described here, we are dealing with the first Vimana to be discovered in surviving Hindu scriptures. Part of a 250,000-year-old UFO? In 1973, on the banks of the Mureș River in Odd, Romania, workers discovered a lump around 20 centimeters long, 10 meters below the Earth's surface, which is still the subject of speculation and research today. Archaeologists who were commissioned to examine the aluminum came to the conclusion that it was a complex artificial metal that was definitely not of natural origin and was instead produced artificially. More detailed analyses revealed that the object was made from 12 different metals and is at least 250,000 years old. An age that puzzled the researchers, as people 250,000 years ago were far from being able to produce such a complex material. The object has concave shapes that suggest it may have been part of a more complex mechanical system. A UFO or another extraterrestrial object? We'll probably never know, unfortunately. Completely immune to rust, the Iron Pillar of Deli. In the last article of our video, we return to India, more precisely to the Delhi metropolitan region. Here, you will find a 7.21 meter high structure with a diameter of 41 centimeters, which was erected in the time of Chandragupta II, 375 to 415 AD. The Deli pillar gained international fame primarily due to its complex metal composition, which gave the sculpture an impressive immunity to rust. When chemists analyzed the composition of the column, they were astounded because the anti-corrosion agents were centuries ahead of the state of the art at the time. A logical explanation could not be found even after decades of intensive research. That is why the author Eric von Daniken, who specializes in extraterrestrial topics, came to the conclusion in his book Chariots of the Gods that the construction and composition of the Deli column was only possible with extraterrestrial help. Assumptions that are doubted by science, however. Finally, as always, we look forward to your feedback. Which of these finds particularly impressed you? And do you know any similarly exciting stories? Let us know in the comments.